Hello, everyone, and welcome to our vlog for today, the life vest that has become a shackle. And so, in today's vlog, what we're going to be talking about is how we have adopted certain belief systems or thought systems that we thought were keeping us safe, keeping us out of danger, keeping us from pain, and keeping us in control, keeping us, again, safe, and how those have actually become shackles that are stopping us from fully moving forward, fully embodying the truth of who we are and what we were here to really do. And I think the best way that we can really start our vlog is with this example, because this was an example that I can say that I played into as well. And it's that thought system of expecting the worst and then pleasantly surprised when things go your way. And let's say that you're driving down the road one day and then all of a sudden a police officer pulls you over, and automatically your mind is like, oh my God, I'm probably going to get a ticket. It's probably going to be super expensive. This shit always happens to me. Life is so unfair. And, just that tirade is just going to keep on going and going and going. So the officer's going to come and it's going to knock on the window. And then you're going to be like, yep, I know it. I know. As soon as I roll down the window, they're gonna ask me, did you know you were speeding or this or that? And I'm gonna get that ticket. And you roll down the window and you're already expecting it. But then the officer says to you, oh, I was actually driving right behind you and your tail light went out. So I just wanted to let you know that your tail light's out and that you probably should get it fixed as quickly as possible. Just wanted to let you know. And oh, thank you so much, officer. That's so great. Thank you, thank you. Roll up your window and you drive, and maybe you go to an AutoZone, O'Reilly's, whatever. And you go get the tail light. And in that span of time, what our mind is trying to convince us of, what our ego mind is trying to convince us of, is look, I protected you. I saved you. Look, see, and look, you got a pleasant little surprise. Isn't that nice? The worst case scenario didn't happen, but you know what? You were prepared for it. So, I protected you. That's that whole thing, because what that thought system is doing is that thought system is attempting to get you to play into the ego's whole idea of separation, that it's just you and that you have to protect yourself and that there is just danger and madness and all around you constantly. And that's the ego's whole idea. And at first it seems like, yeah, it's keeping me afloat. What are you talking about? This isn't bad. This is great. I'm prepared. I'm protected. But what we don't realize is the degradation that that's actually doing. And you may be thinking, well, what degradation could it be doing? Well, number one is it gives you this idea that now you have to live defensively. Like you got to constantly be on the lookout. You got to constantly be on the prowl and like ready to like fight or flight or freeze in any given moment. Is that really the way you want to live? Do you want to have to live your life and fight, flight, or freeze, constantly being in this state of like defensiveness and ready to fight? Does that really sound fun? Does that really sound like a joyful life? And that's the second thing that we don't recognize with a belief system like that, is it's actually taking away a lot of our joy. And you may, again, be questioning that. How could it be taking away my joy? Well, since you're always expecting the worst, how will you ever really be able to allow yourself to be happy? Because you're always going to be expecting, always going to be on the defense, ready for something to go wrong. So it's stealing your joy. You're not even allowing yourself to really feel joy. Like maybe at first, like, your boss comes up to you and is like, hey, you're getting that promotion. And you're like, at first you're super excited. You're like, yes, I'm getting this promotion. And then all of a sudden, well, that's going to be more work. Well, now this is going to happen. And now that, and all of these like worst case, well, you're not going to be able to handle it. You're never really good at this job in the first place. I mean, I'm surprised you even got by the way that you did, but I guess we'll just have to continue to skate by and see what happens. The boss isn't going to like you anymore because now he's going to really get to know you because you're going to be right under him, type of mentality. So it's really stealing our joy. We think in those moments that it's keeping us afloat when really it is a shackle that is keeping us from moving forward in life. And we just have to recognize that. That is the whole thing, is just having that awareness of, would I be willing to look at this situation in a different way? And notice I didn't say I have to look at this situation in a different way. I must look at this situation. Would I be willing to look at this situation in a different way? Would I be willing to think about this in a different way? Would I be willing to invite a different perspective that is higher than my own? Again, all different ways in which we can begin to start releasing, letting go of this. And even though those are ways, I actually want to start with more in the line of steps. And I think step one of this whole letting go of these shackles is asking yourself, why is it that I value this idea? Like, why am I valuing it? What do I believe that this idea or this belief system is giving me? And is it really giving me that? Am I really, can I say that I am truly 100% happy? And if you can, great, wonderful, fantastic. And if you're like, well, I mean, I'm not happy, but I'm not sad, then that's where you can start to do some work. And our second step would then be asking ourselves. So our first step is the asking of, well, what's the value for this belief system or for this thought system? What do I think it's giving me? And am I noticing that it's not really giving me that? From there, it's okay, well, not what, but would I be willing to see this situation or see this in a different way? And again, it's just your willingness. The divine spirit, your guides, your angels, whatever you want to call your higher power, isn't asking for perfection. It's just saying, hey, would you be willing to look at this in a different way? And that doesn't mean that you have to go from everything, expecting the worst to automatically expecting the best, because let's be honest, that is way too long of a jump for any of us to really make. So we start incrementally. So perhaps instead of like expecting the worst, could we go to, well, let me be cautiously optimistic. So still, we're not going from 0 to 100. We're just going from maybe 0 to 2. It's like, okay, instead of expecting just the worst, well, let me be cautiously optimistic. Well, let me see what this officer has to say to me, or something along those lines to help you. Because what you're noticing is our first step is why do I value this? The second is, okay, it doesn't have a value for me. So what's another thought system or what's another thought that I can choose that's going to help me to see this in a different way? And as you begin to practice that, just like you practice that other thought system, it's just the same concept. You got to practice this thought system. And for those of you perhaps in the audience right now thinking, oh my God, that's going to take forever, I want you to think about something. How long is an instant? That's an instant, that's an instant, that's an instant. We have instances all the time. And this is something that I learned from Eric Tolle, from A Course in Miracles, from Abraham. And I think Eric Tolle kind of puts it the best, in my opinion, because he says that once the sufferer no longer values the suffering, they won't suffer anymore. And again, it brings us back to, how is that thought system helping you? Is it really helping you? Or is it only giving you that illusion of protection, that illusion of control, that illusion of being safe or prepared? Is it really giving you those things, or are they just illusions? Your ego mind trying to get you to think that way. And that's all we have to do. So don't think that this is going to take you forever. Don't think it's going to take you a long time. Instead, be willing to ask yourself, how willing am I to continue to suffer in this way? Do I really want to continue to suffer through this thought system and suffer through all this? Or am I willing just a little willingness to see it differently and to allow myself to see it differently, to let go of the value that I'm holding for this thought system or belief system. Am I willing to just let it be the past so that I can move forward? And again, not from 0 to 100, from expecting the worst to automatically expecting the best and everything's working out for you. You're not there yet, and that's okay. That's why we have to do it in steps. And the divine gives us steps every single moment. What we have to do is just be willing to start questioning. Something the Course in Miracles says is we are far too apt to question spirit, but how often do you question your ego? And I can tell you from personal experience, we don't question it enough. I believe it was the Buddha that said, you don't have to believe everything that you think. But guess what? A good majority of the time, we do. We don't question it. And that's what we have to start doing, is questioning those thoughts, questioning these belief systems that no longer hold a positive value for us, that are no longer valuable to the people that we want to become, the people that we already are in truth. Because transformation isn't about becoming someone new or something new. It's about embodying that which you already are, that blueprint that's already there within you. And spirit is more than happy to want to assist you in that. Your job isn't to be the healer. Your job isn't to fight all the fights. Your job is to come to the recognition, and your job is to be willing to ask for a different perception, to be willing to see it differently. So that is our vlog for today. So if you are interested in learning more about me or my services, or you'd like to have a chat about maybe a belief system that you are working with and you would like to start undoing and looking at, why do I value it? Why is it still here? And how can I begin to shift it incrementally? Feel free to go visit my website, awakeningmiracles.org. Awakening Miracles is one word. It's also in the description below. If you're looking for more just daily inspirations or weekly inspirations, then feel free to go visit me on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/simply intuitive, one word. Or you can also go to my website and you can actually join my private group that I have in there. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anything. And that's where I will post a Thoughtful Thursday. And that card or that message is always different from the one that I give the collective. I also do a Monday morning message in that group. Again, it's different from the collective. Sometimes I'll bring in some elements from it, but a good majority of the time, it is always something that's specific for our group. And of course, you get the other exclusive content that comes with the group. Absolutely free to join. You just have to go to my website and say you want to join the group. So that is that. I thank you again so much for joining me. I thank you for being here. And I want to leave you with this final thought, which is to ask yourself, am I willing to see things differently? Am I willing to let go of everything I think and think I know and become a willing vessel for the divine? Am I willing to let go of this shackle so that I can truly be free?